Good evening, Cerrito residents and the member of our community. I call the order the June 13, 2024 regular meeting to the City Council and Success Agency. The invocation will be led by, I guess, do we have anybody on the invocation tonight? Who's that?
Mayor, we do have Pastor Jeff Luddington
So Chaplain will
from
lead us to
Generations
the
Church.
pledge of, and then Pledge of Allegiance will be led by me. So rise.
Thank you. Let's pray. God, thank you for the opportunity to gather for our community. As your word says, we pray so that these leaders will be filled with knowledge of your will, with wisdom, with understanding. And so we thank you for our leaders. We pray that you would help them and guide them to lead our community. We're grateful for their service, and we pray that you would give them wisdom, that you'd give them understanding, that they would lead us and give us and lead us into what is in our best interest, Lord. So thank you. We pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. All right, put your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance Thank you all. Madam City Clerk, will you please conduct the roll call?
Council and Agency Member Barrows is noted absent for the record. Council and Agency Member Johnson.
Present.
Council Agency Member Yokoyama.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem and Vice Chair Vo.
Present.
Mayor and Chair Solanki.
Present.
And if I can, I'd like to make a motion to excuse Councilmember Barrows.
Second. Roll call, please.
Council and Agency Member Johnson.
Aye.
Council Agency Member Yokoyama.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem and Vice Chair Vo.
Aye.
Mayor and Chair Solanki.
Aye.
The motion passes by a vote of 4-0.
Thank you. Next item we have the presentation. Do we have anything on presentation?
There are no presentations this evening, Honorable Mayor.
Next item is the public comments and suggestions. Before we start, thank you for your attendance at tonight's meeting. State law and our local rules do not support the use of profanity, hateful speech, or disturb the conduct of the city council, city business meeting. If necessary, I will issue an initial warning and call for the recess to restore order. After that, chamber may be cleared if disruption continue. Next, I will call upon the city clerk to provide additional information concerning public comments.
Thank you, Mayor. The following comments pertain to all public comment periods on tonight's agenda. Prior to the meeting, the council and agency received full text unredacted copies of the one written comment submitted for this meeting by the deadline listed on the agenda. Requests for copies of written comments can be made to the office of the city clerk treasurer during regular business hours. The mayor will open public comments at the appropriate times on the agenda. Please be prepared to approach the podium and begin your comments at the time you are called. Public comments should be directed to the city council and made only from the podium during your turn. Please respect each speaker and refrain from any disruptive behavior or speech during their comment time. Public comments will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker. This concludes the public comment information for this meeting, and the meeting is returned to the mayor.
Thank you. All right, public comments will start now. The first speaker I have is Teddy Lloyd.
Mr. Mayor, thank you so much. Today is a great day, and I would like to, wish everybody have a nice day. The reason I'm coming today is because I recall in the last city council meeting, and city council has decided to postpone any decision-making of the pickleball courts on the east side of the city of Cerritos. And because of that, at the suggestion of the city, I went to look at a new location, which is, I think it's ideal. It's almost like a quote-unquote gold mine for our city. And, and then you say, well, where? Okay, it is the section of the Don Canabi Regional Park adjacent to the Cerritos Sports Complex. And that area underneath is currently just grassy area, and I think if the city of Cerritos would consider that location to have pickleball courts, it would be great because it addresses all three major issues that the city council had, such as the noise, parking, restrooms. Not only that, more and more I looked at it, I analyzed it, and I realized that this location, if the city of Cerritos would do that, it can host a lot of the events, not only for the city of Cerritos, but also for the new sport of pickleball. And a lot of those events are actually televised. And for example, I will be going to the one coming up in about 2 weeks. It is actually in Orange County. It's in San Clemente. I will go and then talk to the organizer. It's called PPA, Professional Pickleball Association. They have held that for a number of years. In fact, I've been there the last 3-4 years. Because why I think that's great, because not only would it be successful for the city to meet the requirements to have more pickleball courts, which I already discussed, it will eliminate any possibility of the issues brought up by the city council, but also it will help the city in what I'll call the revenue side. You say, well, what do you mean by the revenue side? People attending these events, they usually shop, go to restaurants. They're all within the city of Cerritos, such as the town center, such as the Target store just around the corner. And not only that, how about maybe for some of the, for example, the auto mall, they may want to promote their business by maybe sponsoring the location. And then, so it is great. It is terrific for the city of Cerritos. I really wish the city of Cerritos would definitely look into that possibility and have, pickleball courts there instead of maybe some of the parks that you only build maybe 2 or 3 at a time. So I can definitely provide more information to the city if the city wants to know. I would love to spend time to make the city.
Thank you, Teddy. Your time is up.
Okay.
Thank
so, in any case, thank you very much. Good
Thank you.
evening.
Next, we have is Albar Levy.
Good evening, council members. My name is Albar Levy, and I'm proud to be a Zionist. I'm a Zionist because I believe that Jews have the right to freely live in their homeland, which is the land of Israel. Last Saturday, Israeli security forces miraculously performed a complex and heroic operation to free 4 hostages that Hamas has held captive for 8 months under brutal conditions. Unfortunately, the operation was not flawless. One of the commanders of the operation fell in the line of duty. His name was Arnon Zmora, a chief inspector of the counterterrorism unit of the Israeli police. He suffered fatal injuries during the operation. He was posthumously promoted to superintendent, and the entire rescue operation was renamed after him. The rescue operation is now known as Operation Arnon. Arnon Zamora's heroism is not limited to his actions in the rescue operation last Saturday. Zamora, he heroically fought Hamas terrorists on October 7th, and thereby prevented the Hamas terrorists from getting to the larger cities of Ashkelon and Ashdod, and thereby saving hundreds, if not thousands, of lives. The racist pro-Hamas anti-Semites that coming to the city would probably object to characterizing the operation that rescued 4 hostages as a rescue operation. They would gaslight us by characterizing this rescue operation as a massacre. Of course, that's not the only gaslighting that we have seen from the racist pro-Hamas anti-Semites that have been coming to the Cerritos City Council meetings. They've also been gaslighting us, pretending that they are not anti-Semites, because they only oppose Zionism, not Judaism. Of course, we all know that opposing Zionism means calling for the expulsion of all Jews from Israel and sending them back to Hitler's gas chambers. I think that concluding tonight's City Council meeting in honor of Superintendent Arnon Zamora would serve as a very minor gesture towards the family of Arnon Zamora, but would send a very loud message to all the racist pro-Hamas anti-Semites who come to our council meetings that Cerritos rejects Hamas. And with that, I would like to give a card to the city clerk so she can spell it correctly if you choose to adjourn the city council meetings in his memory. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't have any more names. If anyone else like to speak, there's no more speakers, right? Vida?
That is correct.
Mayor Sam Desai has registered to speak.
Okay.
Good evening, Mayor Solanki, council members, staff, friends. My name is Sam Desai. I'm a resident of Cerritos. Today, I'm here to speak about what happened during the last council meeting. We talked about $876 of council member compensations going to conferences. Study budget session, $100 million budget. How much time did we spend on Magnolia Power Plant? Over 40 years, lost 50 million. Did we talk about what the options are? Now we are talking about $876 on one side, and we do have loss at CCPA. Now, I'm absolutely sure we may have some solutions. We haven't heard anything new. So my request to the council is, let's look at what we are going to leave for the next generation who is going to be a property owner in this city. By next election, and I don't know which one of you are going to run against me or we are going to run against during the next election, but we do have to work where we, the residents, don't feel that three of you are driving the agenda. We do want to work with those who have been established in the council, in the committees, on the commissions. And outside this chamber, we have constant conversations. I know we have angry individuals, but so do some residents who doesn't agree with me, who doesn't agree with you, Mr. Solanki, Mr. Vo, Ms. Johnson, Yokoyama. But I assure you that just like if someone says, go back to India, can you imagine what my response would be? Well, I would go to my mom, right? Or we can talk about families, but this is our city. We have really cracked down on any type of conversation between city and the residents. 2 minutes is not a long time for our council to bear tolerance, because we are all tolerating each other. But together we have to fix what needs to be fixed. And the first thing is our relationship. So please keep that in mind. Thank you.
Do you have another speaker? There's no.
Michael
somehow not-
Diaz has registered to speak, Mayor.
Okay, how come we're not seeing the name here?
Hi, Council. My name is Michael Diaz. I've been here before, and I'm here again to ask the Council to put a ceasefire resolution on the agenda. And I know, I've come here. I'm not even from Cerritos, to be honest with you guys, and I put it down there on the docket every time I come. And like I've spoken before here today, and I'm saying it again because this issue is so important to me, because as I've learned about this subject and what's going on, I realize how it really is such a local issue. So I've taken it upon myself over the past few months to really delve into what I can do as an actual American citizen to take cause effect in that. And this is one viable thing that I can do that. And I've learned that. So, and that's why I go to try and speak up, to be a person, to correct the false narrative that people try to portray for people just speaking up on behalf of Palestine and Gaza, because it's important. And it's important especially because people try and mislabel people such as myself as like hateful or violent or whatever, when in fact I really am just here to try and promote peace and justice from what I believe. And to be honest, just like in a lot of ways, just asking for the American government to follow its own rules. So yeah, that's my public comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker. Do we have anyone?
The next speaker is Maha Afra.
Good evening. It's good to be back again, but sad to be back again, because we're still speaking about the same issue. The duty of you in here to call for a ceasefire. Because, why? First of all, I forgot to introduce myself, and I didn't prepare today. I'm coming just to be here. I am Dr. Maha Afra, a mother, educator, and immigrant, and a Semite. I am a Semite. I am an Arab. So I know what I'm talking about. And you said liberty and justice for all, yet you are supporting, paying for terrorism done by a fascist organization named Zionism that pays politicians like you, including the president, including our Congress, to do whatever to be puppets. And Zionism, as per Finkelstein, Levi, Peled, Mattei, Halper, Rabbi Shapiro, and so many Jewish scholars, is putting Jewish people at risk, because what's being done in Palestine since 1948 and before is being done by Jewish Zionists, meaning in the name of Judaism and Jewish people, which putting Jewish people in danger. They are opposing Zionism, and it is your duty, because you are paying for this. We are paying for this as citizens, for what's happening. Palestinians, but what about Palestinian hostages, 10,000s of them, who have been kidnapped? And talking about Hamas, there's no Hamas in the West Bank. It's illegal settler violence, who are the terrorists, who are stealing land, who are terrorizing shepherds, who are destroying homes, kidnapping people, who are armed people, and they're protected by the IOF, which is a result of the Haganah terrorist organization that was formed before 1948 to do ethnic cleansing of Palestine, as blessed by the British and the United States. Yes, it is your duty. It's on your conscience. It's on your integrity. Do what's right. Thank you.
The next speaker is M. Chen.
Hi guys, good evening. My name is M. Chen. I didn't prepare anything and I'm terrified of public speaking, so forgive me if I stumble, but I'm also here to basically back these two individuals up and call for a ceasefire resolution on the agenda. I want to speak really clearly and concisely on the death toll in Gaza right now. I think it's at 37,000. And I just ask that all of you open your hearts up to empathize with Gaza and all the families that their whole bloodlines are being wiped off of the face of the earth. And that is all I have to say, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Avraham Stern.
Good evening. My name is Avraham. As a Jewish American with roots, family, and friends in Israel, I'm here to urge you to agendize a ceasefire resolution, demand divestment, and a total arms embargo from Israel. Israel is a Zionist state, not a Jewish one. Zionism is a political ideology that justifies the erasure of Palestine by manipulating and degrading Judaism. Zionism is not Judaism. There are more Christian Zionists than Jews in America. A ceasefire is not anti-Semitic. Zionism is anti-Semitic. Judaism stands for Tikkun Olam, healing the world, and Pikuach Nefesh, saving life. Zionism stands for ethnic and religious supremacy, total dehumanization of Palestinians, and genocide. And make no mistake, Your support for Israel doesn't help Jewish people, it endangers us. When Palestinians say from the river to the sea, it is a call for freedom, yet they are criticized. When the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu says it, it is a call for ethnic cleansing, yet he gets away with it. We hear often of Israel's right to exist and to defense, but what of Palestine's right to exist and Palestine's right to defense? What right does Israel have to destroy Palestine? It has none. There's nothing Jewish about the murder of over 40,000 people, nothing Jewish about starving 2 million Palestinians, nothing Jewish about the war crimes Israeli soldiers are posting on social media. It is time to hold the Israeli government accountable. Let us stop using my Jewishness as an excuse not to hold it accountable, because this is what inspires anti-Semitism. The combination of the expectation of Jewish people to support and potentially be more loyal to Israel, a foreign government, in spite of the crimes of this government, the very real and apparent privilege of Israel and Zionists within the American landscape, the power they have to shut down free speech and sack people's jobs and literally dictate policy on the floors of Congress, this creates anti-Semitism everywhere. Checking Israel's privilege is the best thing that America can do to combat anti-Semitism. Israel should not have a say of America's foreign policy and should not be able to dictate what Americans can and can't say. Israel is spying on Americans and buying off our reps. Any American politicians who curry favor for Israel's government are committing treason, have betrayed their country, and should resign immediately. As a younger person, I was in Israel in 2008. I could hear Israel bombing Gaza everywhere we went. For weeks, every hour, you could hear and feel the bombs. So I know October 7th is not the beginning. People try to say that those who support Palestine get their information from propaganda, but I learned about Palestine. I learned about what Israel really was, what Zionism was, from former Israeli soldiers, people who had to carry out the brutality of the state firsthand. So I know that when Palestinians tell us about the violence they constantly endure from Israel, we should believe them. We should help them. Please help stop the flow of arms to Israel. Tell the federal government to cut Israel off. Stop this horrible genocide. Never again is for everyone. Ceasefire now. Thank you.
Do you have any more speakers? Okay. Thank you. That's all the cards we have. If anyone else like to speak, if it's not, I'll close the public hearing. Public comments, and bring it back with the council for the. We'll now have next item on the agenda is the consideration of consent calendar. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second?
We have a motion and second. Roll call, yes. Okay, next item. We don't have any public hearing
And
tonight?
Councilmember, I'm sorry, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, we do need to have the vote. And thank you. The motion passes by a vote of 4-0. Thank you.
But we don't have public hearing tonight, Robert, right? Nothing?
That's correct, sir.
Okay. Next item is under new and old business, item 9A.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council. Item 9A is our third and final budget study session as part of the budget review process. The presentation this evening will be given by Peter Kemp, and following that, he and our staff can be answered any questions. Peter?
Thank you, Mr. Lopez, and good evening, members of the City Council. The item before you is a review and consideration of the fiscal year 2024-25 preliminary combined financial program. The proposed budget document was published on May 2nd, 2024 in accordance with the city's charter. This is the third and final scheduled public budget study session with the City Council this year. The first was held on January 25th, 2024. At this meeting, staff presented the City Council with an update on the budget process, and the council directed staff regarding specific funding allocations towards meeting the City Council's priority goals for the upcoming fiscal year. The second budget study session was held on May 9th, 2024, and included a detailed presentation of the preliminary budget document, followed by discussion and modification directives from the City Council. The report before you summarizes the proposed modifications to date. These modifications include both financial and non-financial adjustments, some of these directed by the City Council and others proposed by staff. A review of the preliminary budget provides the City Council with the opportunity to adjust both operational programming and capital improvement program projects during budget adoption. As a matter of good fiscal management, any financial modifications to the budget should be made within the context of available resources, including the strategic use of reserves. The summary of funds and estimated balances on page 29 of the preliminary budget document, along with the statements of fund balances and reserves that follow for each individual fund, provide a comprehensive review of available resources as the City Council considers any modifications with funding impacts. It is respectfully recommended that the City Council review and consider this report and direct the city manager to make any necessary modifications to the combined financial program in preparation for its adoption by way of a joint City Council successor agency resolution at a public hearing scheduled for June 27, 2024. This concludes my presentation on this item. Mr. Lopez, myself, and all staff in attendance are available for any questions should you have any. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Drew, and thank you, Robert. This council has any question for the see none? Okay. So now I will open up for public comments on item 9A, if anyone would like to speak on this item. Okay, seeing none, at this time I declare the public comments period closed. Bring it back for the council. We need a motion. Huh? Receive and file, or we need a motion on this?
If there are no suggested changes to the budget as outlined in the staff report, then staff will take the next steps to bring back the final budget for adoption with the incorporation of the items identified in the agenda report for consideration by the City Council on the June 27th meeting.
Great, thank you. All right, so we'll just do receive and file. Next item under the old and new business, item 9B.
Mr. Mayor, may I make a statement?
On which item now?
9B.
Okay.
9B is regards to the cow sculpture, and I know that Council Member Vice Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem Barrows is very much interested in our sculptures in and around the city. So I'd like to ask Council consensus to postpone this item to a future meeting so that Council Member Barrows can join us in the discussion and vote.
No, I'd rather just continue 9B right now.
It was his request, but okay.
Sure. Continue at 9B.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council. Item 9B relates to review and consideration of a proposed cow-themed sculpture. This item comes to the council at the recommendation of the Fine Arts and Historical Commission. The presentation this evening will be presented by Kathy Matsumoto. And following that, she and I will be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. Staff is pleased to present the recommendation of the Fine Arts and Historical Commission as it relates to the art piece that will recognize the history of the city of Cerritos through our farming and dairy heritage. This special project was directed by the City Council at the meeting of August 10th, 2023. The Fine Arts and Historical Commission at their meeting of May 16th, 2024 approved the art concept proposed by Jane D. Decker by a vote of 4-1. The other two artists who submitted concepts were Daniel Glantz and Camion George Lundeen. At this time, I'd like to have Ms. Aguila begin the PowerPoint. As shown in the PowerPoint, the concept by Jane D. Decker is titled Milking Time. As proposed, this will be a bronze composition that consists of 5 separately sculpted art pieces. You will observe that the concept of the artwork is sculpted in clay and is very loose in its form. This is equivalent to a rough sketch, as many sculptors prefer to develop their ideas in clay rather than with a pencil and paper. As the sculptor progresses with a concept, more details will be developed on the pieces as well as the relationships among the pieces. This clay concept is approximately 10 inches high by 18 inches wide and 16 inches in depth. The main focus of the art piece is the Holstein dairy cow. On the one side sits a farmer on a milking stool, which he is milking, and the cow is grazing while the little girl is waiting for milk for her cat. On the other side of the cow, you can see is a young boy with a feed bag, and he is sprinkling feed for the cow. The artist is proposing to inscribe text or logo that reflects the Dairy Valley heritage on the feed bag. The artwork will be made in a museum-quality bronze at 110% of life-size scale, which would be approximately 5.5 feet tall, 6.5 feet wide, and about 8.5 feet deep when complete. The artist will work with the city in the color patina of the cow. The artwork will be made in a limited edition of 1 of 5. In the other 4 editions, the artist will make modifications to the patina and personalization on the pieces to reflect different ownerships of the artwork. It is estimated that the completion time of the artwork will be 14 months from the execution of the contract by all parties. Jane D. Decker is a member of the National Sculptors Guild and has been a professional sculptor since 1990. Her public and privately collected artwork has been installed and exhibited throughout the country. Ms. D. Decker's most prominent artwork in the city of Cerritos is the Elements Fountain in the Cerritos Sculpture Garden, as shown on the screen. Next slide will show that there are several other examples of Ms. D. Decker's artwork. The cost of the artwork as currently proposed is $275,000 for the bronze artwork only. Insurance and engineering costs are additional and would bring that total to about $279,875. These costs are valid until November 30th, 2024. Additionally, there are other costs that will include shipping, installation, site design, landscaping, and hardscaping costs, which will be determined at a later date and presented to the City Council for final approval. Funding for the project will be provided through the Art in Public Places Trust Fund, which currently has a balance of approximately $650,000. The fund is derived from fees imposed on private development projects pursuant to Chapter 22.94 of the Cerritos Municipal Code, and this fund is restricted for the acquisition, site design, and maintenance of artwork in the city's public art collection. Before the City Council tonight is the review and consideration of the concept for the historical cow art piece for the Art in Public Places collection. The artist will refine the artwork with any required modifications. At a later date, staff will present the City Council with a final design concept, the proposed location and design, including landscaping and hardscaping plans, and an estimated cost for the proposed project. All these costs will be paid through the Arts in Public Places Fund. Staff will now provide the City Council with a brief description of the other 2 art concepts that were reviewed by the Fine Arts and Historical Commission. Next slide, please. The next artist that the commission studied was Daniel Glantz. This concept is known as milking cow. It shows a dairy cow being milked by a young boy. This will also be sculpted at 110% of life size, with approximate finished size being about 5.5 feet tall and 7 feet wide. The approximate cost as submitted in August 2023 was $200,000. We estimate that the updated cost would be about $210,000 to $215,000. Next slide, please. Next slide. The following slides show several examples of Mr. Glantz's current artwork. The final artist that the commission reviewed was a concept that was presented by Cami Lundeen and is titled Hugs and Holsteins, which shows a young girl hugging her cow. As proposed, this art piece would be sculpted at 110% life-size scale and will be approximately 5.5 to 6 feet tall and about 6 to 7 feet wide when completed. Following are several examples of her current artwork. The approximate cost of Ms. Lundeen's artwork is $275,000. That was submitted at the time of the proposal. We are estimating that the current cost will probably be about $285,000. At this time, this concludes the presentation of the three artists. So it is recommended that the City Council review and discuss the information provided relating to the Fine Arts and Historical Commission approval of Milking Time by Jane D. Decker. Authorize the city manager or his designee to negotiate a contract with the National Sculptors Guild for the purchase of the approved sculpture, proceed with the development of plans for the location of the sculpture, and to obtain cost estimates for the shipping, installation, and associated landscaping, hardscaping required to complete the project. And also direct staff to provide the City Council with a report for the final review and consideration of the contract, final design of the sculpture, proposed location, associated landscape and hardscape improvements, and additional costs associated with the completion of the project. That concludes my presentation, and I will be happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. I just had one question. I know you already reiterate that this fund is from the art fund. This is not coming out of the general funding.
No general
and we can
fund.
only use this fund for the art piece.
Right.
Just want to make sure the residents understand that we're not spending any money. That's it from the general account.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. I will call question from the council. Anyone has a question?
I have a few questions.
Okay.
Thank you, Kathy, for the report. I've been following this discussion quite a while now since the Fine Arts Commission. I'm really pleased that they've come up with a recommendation. I'm just sorry that Councilmember Barrows couldn't join us. I know he was very interested in this piece. Can we have the artist Jane D. Decker possibly modify the position of the head of the cow to have it look up? I've read that cows find being milked very relaxing, and perhaps we can relay that to the artist. Many folks will probably take photos with the cow, so it'd be kind of nice to have a cow looking up at eye level, and like to see the face of the cow. So is that something we can ask her to modify?
When the concept is being presented to us, the artist is always open to modifications, and this is the time to do it in the beginning. And the clay can be modified or the concept and brought back to City Council for approval.
Yeah, if she could just keep in mind that, like I said, when I read that cows find it very relaxing, if she can relay that look on the cow when she does the concept. And also, as to the cat, perhaps maybe something like a dog, a collie, because I know one of the commissioners had mentioned that it would be more typical to have a dog on the field than a cat. So I think the breed of dog was either a collie or a terrier, was it, or something? So
that was suggested.
Yes. Yeah.
Any of these modifications can be suggested if the council so chooses.
And also in the report, it says that the feed bag can include a logo that includes dairy.
Right.
That would be nice to have as a point of reference for the community to understand that we were once Dairy Valley. And just making sure that and I'm sure the artist, it's obvious that she's done her research, that, that we want this piece to be as accurate of the time period as possible. I mean, I'm very particular, especially even down to the haircut of the kids, the clothing, everything. I want to be as accurate as possible for this piece.
Those suggestions can be made to the artist.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Frank?
Thank you. Kathy, thank you for that presentation. So is this, if the council approves the staff recommendation, does this go back to the commission, or does the city council only consider the location of the sculpture?
Well, the location for the sculpture hasn't been determined yet. And
Yeah, so who considers that first? Does it go back to the commission
If-
at all, or is the commission done if the council approves the staff recommendation tonight? Does it stay with the council? Are you going to bring it back to the council, and at a future meeting, will we have an agenda report presenting staff recommendation for the location, and the city council will consider that location? Or does the commission have any involvement in considering the location?
I believe that could be at the direction of the city council. If the council wants the commission to evaluate the site location and the designs, we could send it to them first before it comes back to city council. Or the city council can, at their discretion, make the final approval. Because at this time, the direction was for the commission to review a potential concept for the art piece.
Yes, location has not been considered at all by the
No,
commission,
no.
and it is not, no locations are proposed in the agenda report. So
Not at
I
this
just
time.
wanted to know what the plan was for the consideration of location, and you said you're letting us know it's at the will of the council, the discretion of the council. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, if it's not, I will open this for the public comments. If any would like to speak on this item, 9B.
Mayor Sam Desai has registered to speak.
Okay.
Thank you, Council Member Solanki, Kathy, staff, manager. I call this the cow saga. Somehow, we have used public as someone who doesn't understand that where the funds may be coming from. I get that. You're not using the funds from general public. But what you are milking is everyone's time. You want exact specific clothing on a child for a sculptor, and it's a piece of art. Creativity goes in it, and you want to be precise about it, and we don't know where to place it. Every time we talk about cows, seems like we are not sure what to do with our own legacy. Dairy Valley. Our kids know it's Dairy Valley if we have properly educated them. And if we have a statue of cow, we need a logo to figure out that we are part of Dairy Valley for $250,000. Now here is a challenge for Kathy, council members, committee members, that does this council feel comfortable with them to give them additional responsibility. Because after all, it's the cow statue. Now, we have artists who have made time and effort to give us the sketch. Now, when did you first receive the sketch? I'm assuring you it wasn't last month. It's been some time. Now, don't you believe last time you could have done that? And if you have council members, if you have individuals on committees and commissions, please speak with them, because do you know who they speak to? People who are not on committees and council, or individuals who have nothing to do with the cow statue. And when they get feedback, it comes here and then you'll send it back. So let's end the cow saga soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? That's all. If there is no more speaker on this item, I will close the public comments period. Bring it back for the council for any more comment.
I just have a comment.
Okay.
Well, I'm excited. This is a sculpture that's probably going to become the most notable piece amongst our city's collection. It will tell the history of Cerritos' beginnings as Dairy Valley. So with that, we need a sculpture piece that will best represent our city. And I want to thank the Cerritos Fine Arts and Historical Commission for bringing forth the recommendation. I know they've done their due diligence and had thorough discussion. I think it is the best representation of our city's history, as well as our dairymen and their families. So I'm really excited about this new piece. Thank you, Kathy, as well, for all the work. I've been following all the commission meetings, so thank you.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? Seeing none, do we have to approve this, right? But I do like Frank's comment that who's going to decide this, where we're going to place this.
Well, staff hasn't done a study yet as to where the best location will be. It could be, of course, City Council will have the final approval. If you would like to send it to the commission for their review and recommendation to the council, that can be done also.
Or is the staff going to bring us with multiple location and the council would have a chance to choose location?
Well, we can.
Yeah, if the city council would like to direct staff, we can come up with a small list of possible sites in discussion with the artist, and then we can come back to you with that information in connection with other information as well.
Is that acceptable, Frank? Okay. And I do like Linda's that I think, I know all those cows pictures we have, they're all looking down. I think maybe if the artist can come at least give us ideas and suggest on having a heads up.
I think in this concept, the cow is not necessarily looking down. He's eating from the ground. He's eating the feed that the little boy is throwing on the ground. But I can ask the artist if she could have the little boy feeding from his hand.
Okay.
So that is a possibility if the
possibly
council so desires to have those changes made.
Sounds good. All right. With that, do we need a motion on this item?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the recommendation from the Cerritos Fine Arts Commission to go with Jane DeDecker's piece with the recommendations I brought forth this evening.
Okay. Do I have a second? I'll second that. All right. Do we have a roll call, please?
Mayor, if we may also add, if you would like to suggest adding in that motion the identification of possible locations.
I would, yes, for
Yes,
staff to
that-
come back
that
with
is-
a list of possible locations for placement. Thank you.
Yeah, and everything else in number 2 and 3 of the recommendation, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, number 2 and
The staff recommendation went beyond, the staff recommendation in this
Yes.
agenda report went beyond the the commission's recommendation of milking time. Staff is also suggesting number 2 and number 3.
correct, yes, that was included in the motion. to be included in the motion.
1, 2, 3, all of them, all items. Yes.
And is that, and that's agreed to by the seconder of the motion, correct?
Yes, correct. Okay.
And the motion passes 4-0.
All right. Next item here is the item 9C. Robert.
Thank you, Mayor. This item relates to the terms of commission and committee members. The presentation this evening will be given by City Clerk Vita Barone. And following her presentation, Mr. Urke, Ms. Barone, and I would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. The matter before you this evening is review and consideration to introduce an ordinance extending the terms of office for the current cadre of commission and committee members for a period of 90 days while the City Council-appointed Protocol Manual Ad Hoc Working Group completes its review of advisory board matters and presents its recommendations to the City Council. The policies and procedures related to Cerritos boards, commissions, and committees is under the purview of the City Council and are memorialized in the City Council Protocol Manual. The Ad Hoc Working Group is scheduled to present their findings and recommendations to the full complement of the City Council for further review and consideration later in the summer, and the introduction and adoption of an ordinance extending their terms through October 27th will allow for public review and consideration of any updates to the city's board, commissions, and committee procedures. Upon introduction, the ordinance will be scheduled for adoption at the June 27th meeting, and if adopted, will go into effect 30 days thereafter. Upon adoption of the term extension notice, the Office of the City Clerk will notify all appointees accordingly. Currently, the 2-year terms of office are scheduled to expire on July 29th, 2024, upon which time all offices become vacant with no other term specified in the city's municipal code. It is recommended the City Council review and consider the information provided in this report, take public comment, and take action to introduce the ordinance as presented. This concludes my report, and the City Manager, City Attorney, and I are available to answer any questions the Council may have.
Thank you, Vida, for the report. I'll call a question from the council. Anyone has a question? Instead of extending this the October 27, why can't we just extend it to what is the next election, which is on March or April 2025?
Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council, thank you, Mayor, for the question. It was the recommendation of the ad hoc working group to set some parameters on the extension so that there would be impetus or drive or momentum to complete the boards, commissions, and committees handbook portion of the protocol manual, and that's why it was set at a limit of 90-day extension.
Thank you. Anyone, no one has a question? Or do anyone in public would like to speak on this item?
Mayor Catherine Pascual has registered to speak.
Okay, Catherine Pascual.
Good evening. I actually have the same question as Mayor Solanki today. I was very vocally not a fan of you guys moving the election by a year, but you did. And so it seems a little bit silly to have these terms expire in October just to then have an election that's going to happen in March and then October, November, December, January, February, March, like that's like a 5-month term before they're all up and have to be seated again. I assume we want these committees to be seated with each new election like they have been in the past. The more logical thing to do here might be to get that report that's happening, see any changes that are suggested to be made, and then give the council and the staff a little bit of time to figure out exactly what new committees need to be seated and things like that, and to roll out the next seating with the election date. So it seems odd, and I am still not a fan of the fact that we moved the election by a year, but it seems like if you gave yourselves an extra year, let's just give these committee members an extra year as well, and, you know, put things back on track to be in line with the election cycle. Thank you.
Thank you. Sam Desai.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, staff, for the report. When we moved the election. That's council's decision. And since that time till today, what we have noticed is council is having challenges with getting residents involved as local committee members, local commission members, and there is a confusion added. Apparently, we have new advisory boards. All right. So while we are discussing this code, which is going to open up, and we are looking for a little bit time, perhaps we can also discuss which committees and commissions we really don't need. Start cutting down on expectations. It's challenging times to open up the code book and start doing surgery. And 90-day extension, while the staff is recommending, you do have to look at the election cycles that we are choosing. Now, I can only imagine what our committee members and commissioners may be thinking as to what you may have shared with them before they took the responsibilities, right? So this is a consequence of moving elections, of not truly giving the power to the committees and commissioners that you have to be independent thinkers because they only serve you. And now we are changing a little bit. We are making exceptions because we need to change the handbook. Now just think it through for a second. Whenever you mess with election cycles and you don't think things through, and then we want to enroll residents to give back to the city, we start creating uncertainty for them too. What does it really mean to be a commissioner and a committee member for you? So these are challenges that we have to deal with since we changed our election cycle. So let's not play with the book too much. It will cause some challenges. But thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll close the public comments period and bring it back for council for action. So receive and file, or we need a motion on this?
Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council, the introduction of an ordinance will require a motion and second by the City Council and City Council majority action.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
I'll move.
Second. Call roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
The motion passes by a vote of 4-0.
Thank you. Next item we have is the legislative item 10A. Robert?
Mayor, members of the City Council, staff does not have any items to present on either 10A or 10B.
Okay. 11A, City Manager report.
Thank you. I have one item, and that is that the city's annual National Night Out event is scheduled for Thursday, August 8th. And it has come to my attention that this event falls on the same evening as a regularly scheduled City Council meeting. I would like to request City Council consensus direction to bring back an item for the next City Council meeting to consider either rescheduling or canceling that meeting.
Okay. So
What do you need from us, a consensus?
I request
guess.
consensus
Yes.
on that item if there's interest.
Yes.
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 Thank you. That's all I have this evening,
Okay.
sir.
Next item is the 11B from the council communication. And again, I will give council 3 minutes. Let's start with Linda Johnson.
I attended the State of the City, and this is my first one since being elected to the council. I've attended many State of the Cities in the region, and I'd have to say this is one of the best that I have attended. Congratulations to our city manager, Robert Lopez, on his first State of the City. He delivered an excellent report, and I appreciated that he gave shout outs to many of our stakeholders that were in attendance. I felt very, very proud as a resident and as a council member on the state of our city, which is strong and resilient. As Robert said, it truly is teamwork from our city manager's office, our city attorney, our city clerk's office, all of our directors, managers, and all staff from community development, administrative services, library, recreation services, the CCPA, Senior Center, Public Works, and Community Safety, including our Cerritos Sheriff Station. Each and every one of them contributes to the success of our city, so thank you to Team Cerritos. Last, I also noticed a lot of work being done around the city. I see orange cones everywhere. And when I see the orange cones, I am happy. That means our trees are getting trimmed, our streets and sidewalks are getting repaired, and our infrastructure is being maintained. Robert mentioned in the State of the City that last year was the biggest capital improvement budget that we've had. I want to thank this council for supporting that budget as it ensures that our residents' concerns and safety are being addressed. And thank you, Dario, for putting the orange cones all over the city. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Frank?
So I attended the Memorial Day ceremony at the Artesia Cemetery in the city of Cerritos. On May 24, I attended the Asian American Heritage Month celebration in the city of La Palma. On May 25, I attended the wedding of Carson Council Member Jim Deere and Monette Deere at the Carson Event Center. On May 30, I attended with my family the Whitney High School commencement ceremony for the 2024 Whitney graduates. It was good to see our friends graduate. On June 8 and 9, I attended the 2024 Southeast Japanese School and Community Center Cultural Festival in Ondo, like I do every year, in the city of Norwalk. On June 2, I was happy to that my son and I attended the birthday celebration of Joe Coy at Cafe 86 in the city of Artesia. This past Saturday, I attended the End Gun Violence event hosted by our Assembly member Sharon Quirk Silva at the Buena Park Civic Center. I also attended the Philippine Independence Festival in the city of Carson that afternoon. And thank you very much.
Thank you. John?
Thank you, Mayor. I also attended the State of the City. I want to say how well received that was. It was well attended. I want to thank the Chamber of Commerce, Cerritos Chamber of Commerce, for hosting that and promoting the city of Cerritos. I also want to thank Robert, City Manager, for putting up a good show. And then also, of course, our mayor was also a speaker there. I think you guys tag team to speak, and I think both of you did an exceptional job. And thank you so much for sharing all the great work that our city has done, and then but also the future of our city. And I think it was very well received. You kind of brought us right to the edge of our seat, and then you kind of just stopped. But it's okay. I understand why. But it was exciting to hear the good news that you presented at the chamber event. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you. Yeah, I too thank you, the Chambers of Commerce. I see we have a Chambers president here. Thank you to Chambers and I think Robert and their staff. Our director has done an amazing job. I think this was one of the best state of the city we had in a long time. By the way, I've been mayor for 3 times, but this was my first 2. 2019 and 2020 was because of due to the COVID, I had not had no chance. With that, there is one program is going in this Saturday. The first CEB is having a car wash at Los Cerritos Center, Grilly Road entrance, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. All the proceeds will be going to the benefit of Marines, sailors, their families, so please support them. And then second, we have of course, the Let Freedom Ring celebration July 4th. Just wanted to remind everybody, get ready for the show. And that's all I have tonight. Bill, do we have a closed session tonight?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. We have one closed session item tonight. It is conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation with significant exposure to litigation pursuant to paragraph 2 or 3 of subdivision D of section 54956.9, and the number of potential cases are 2. And with that, the council can recess to closed session.
Thank you. At this time, recess.